Hey everyone, so it can be scary trying to play a new role with how much there is to learn in the game. Items, champions, wave control, all of them are so different for each role. So we thought we'd make a guide for those trying to start playing top lane. This means that we're going to be going over the very basics here, starting with the best champions to play when starting out, and then moving on to some other things like how to control the wave. We're going to cover a lot, but it will be easier than you think. But before we get started, here's our question of the day. Who do you think is the most hidden OP top laner right now? As in, most wouldn't know that they are strong since they don't get played much. Let us know in the comments below. So, to start off, let's talk about the different types of top laners. The main classes up here are bruisers and tanks, but sometimes you can get some ranged top laners as well, like Ryze, Lucian, or Kennen. The reason why top lane is the lane for bruisers and tanks is it's a really long lane compared to mid. Bruisers and tanks need levels to succeed, so they can't go bot lane, and mid is reserved for mages since it's too dangerous for a mage to go top with how long it is. Bruisers and tanks, on the other hand, can 1v2 with a big minion wave and can survive ganks. The ranged top laners aren't played very often right now, but if they are, it's because they can bully the bruisers and tanks very easily in lane, but they have to play around the jungler very well to make it work. So, bruisers are champions like Aurelia, Renekton, Riven, etc. If we had to give you a good starting bruiser to play, it would definitely be Garen. He's very easy to play and can hard carry most games with Stridebreaker. Some examples of tanks would be Ornn, Maokai, or Sion. And for those interested in playing tanks, a good starting tank is Malphite. He has strong laning, can carry teamfights with his ultimate, and is overall just a pain to deal with, especially in low elo. And lastly, for ranged top laners, we would recommend Quinn. She can deal with most bruisers and tanks, can roam with her ult, and scales as well as most ADCs, so she can really carry. Now, top lane is known as the counter pick lane for a reason though, as some matchups can feel extremely miserable to play. For example, Quinn is a really hard counter to Renekton because if he jumps on her, she just uses E to create distance and then he can't do anything. So, you'll want to choose 1 to 3 champions to play and learn their matchups. Then you can hopefully be able to counterpick some lanes and get a free laning phase. Or if you have a blind pick, you can ban your main counter. With that being said, you can win any lane no matter how bad the matchup below Diamond, as low elo players won't play the matchup right anyway, but it will still make it easier to have good matchups, of course. Alright, so after you pick some champions to play, you'll want to head on over to U.GG to find their main counters and builds. We would love to tell you the builds, but we can't go over everything in this video. But U.GG is a great site, and you'll find everything you need to know there. As a quick reminder, if you want to improve fast and get the rank that you've always wanted, then check out our hyper improvement system at SkillCapped.com. We have professional courses by top players, Smurf commentaries where a challenger player walks you through how to climb out of every rank from Iron to Diamond, and we upload tons of new exclusive guides to our website each week. In fact, we're so confident you'll improve using our system that if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using SkillCapped, you can claim a full refund, so there's no risk. What are you waiting for? Check out SkillCapped.com and get the rank you've always wanted. Link in the description below. Alright, so now that you know which champions you want to play, let's get into laning. Laning is the most important part of the game, so mastering it can take you very far. Laning comes down to 2 main things: trading and wave control. They go hand in hand, and understanding both are required to win lane. So let's talk about wave control first. We can't go over everything here, but we can go over the basics to get you started. For top lane, there is one main wave control concept that you need to understand right away, and that's the slow push. Slow pushing is basically doing exactly what you think, pushing slowly. But the first step is actually getting the push advantage. Then, once you get it, you start last hitting. By doing this, your minions will start stacking up, giving you a big wave. Not only do you get a huge wave to help you win trades or survive ganks, but you'll have the experience advantage as well, since the enemy will essentially be 2 or 3 waves behind you in terms of experience until they clear the wave. So let's take a look at an example now. In this game, McBaze is playing Gwen versus Riven. As the laning starts, Riven just stays in the brush while McBaze autos the wave a little bit. Since she hasn't done any extra damage to the wave, he has the push advantage. The minions might seem like they are equal, but minion waves are very volatile. All it takes is one auto difference for a wave to push one way or another. So, Now that he has the push advantage, he's going to keep it, but push slowly. This means that he has to pay attention to any damage Riven does to the wave as well. If she autos the wave twice, McBaze will do the same. This leads us to the next half of top lane, which is trading. Playing around the wave is super important. So for this next trade, McBaze has 3 minions to Riven's 2. So he knows he'll win the trade and is ready to contest Riven for this CS. That's one of the most fundamental things about any lane. You should be trading around CS. That's what laning phase is at the end of the day, battling for last hits. It's guaranteed gold. You can win a lane with just a CS advantage, you don't necessarily need kills. So after McBaze trades and backs off, we can see he still has a 1 minion advantage. But it's important to note that he can't really make use of it just yet. The waves have to stack up, which will happen soon, and then he'll get the level advantage and big wave that we were looking for. That's why he's playing a bit safe for now while his Q is down and Riven has her Q up. After Riven uses her Q though, the next waves arrive, and we have another very important part of top lane coming up, which is level 2. To get level 2, you need 7 minions. So it will be all of the first wave and 1 minion on the second wave. Being the first one to level 2 is a big deal, and in low elo, the enemy top likely won't respect it. If you are level 2, it's impossible to lose the trade on the enemy top, and you can easily get kills if you go in at level 2 and catch the enemy top not paying attention. So, watch how McBaze starts playing here as he's 1 minion from level 2. He's positioned much more aggressively because he wants to be as close to Riven as possible for when he levels up. As he does hit level 2, he tries to go in and punish, but Riven respected it and backed off early. Then Riven is going to hit level 2 and use her Q to jump in like this, which brings us to our next important concept when it comes to trading, and that's playing around cooldowns. Because Riven just used her main cooldown, her Q, McBaze knows that he can jump in and trade and have the ability advantage since he has both of his abilities up. This makes Riven get scared and use Ignite, and since McBaze has TP over Ignite and doesn't have any abilities up, he backs off. While doing that, Riven flashes in trying to make use of the Ignite. But because McBaze won the previous trade so hard and kited long enough for his abilities to come back up, he turns and finishes the Riven for first blood. So this was only possible because McBaze had the push advantage and was slow pushing. If he wasn't, Riven would have hit level 2 first and would have had the minion advantage, and McBaze would have been forced to play safe for the first few levels. In your own games, if you don't get the push advantage, you need to respect the enemy level 2 and let the wave push in. It's okay to give up CS while you do this. The wave will eventually crash on your tower, then it will start pushing back toward the enemy laner. This is when you start your slow push and look to play aggressive once again. That's basically how wave control works in top lane. It slow pushes back and forth, and whoever is pushing and has the big wave has the advantage in trades at that time. But anyway, another very important thing to any lane really is recalling. You have to remember that you can have 5,000 gold, but if it's not spent, it is useless. So you should be recalling pretty much any time you get a good chance to and won't lose anything for it. A really obvious time is after you kill the enemy laner, but you want to be able to shove the wave and crash it on the enemy tower first. This makes it so that you don't lose anything while you're recalling. A good way to get a good recall timing is using the really important wave control concept that we talked about earlier, slow pushing. Most people in the community call this a cheater recall, but it's a simple strategy where you slow push 3 waves in like we talked about, crash it on the tower, then immediately recall. You won't miss anything coming back to lane, and you'll have around 400 gold for something like a longsword or a cloth armor. This item advantage can be huge, so when you walk back to lane, the enemy top will be in a tricky spot as they'll be trying to crash the wave on your tower so that they can also recall. A lot of the time this can lead to a first blood or the enemy top having to use TP so that you have TP advantage. And speaking of teleport, let's talk about that now. A lot of players don't understand exactly when they should TP. Well, there are 2 kinds of TPs basically, TPing to lane or teleporting to make a play on the map. It's much simpler than you think it is when trying to decide when to use each. If you're going to lose a lot of minions, you have to use your TP to get back to lane. This could be because there's a wave on your tower, or the wave is frozen in front of the enemy tower and you'll miss a wave because of it. Experience is very important in top lane, so you don't want to just save it for the team. That brings us to the other kind of TP, using it to make a play on the map. For this, there's one main rule to follow. You only TP to make a play if you're going to get kills. You don't TP to save teammates or anything like that. If you teleport and get nothing and lose minion waves in the top lane, you're basically screwed when you get back there and might just get solo killed a bunch with how much more experience and gold the enemy top laner will have. So the best case scenario is you slow push 3 waves into the enemy top tower, then you see a play where you'll definitely pick up a kill or 2, then you can recall and get back top as the enemy top is finishing crashing the wave on your tower. Alright everyone, that's going to bring us to the end of this video. This should be enough to get you started in top lane for any champion that you want to play. Anyway, hopefully this helped. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.